And so that's essentially my job is to just like move data from one place to another place. Yeah, yeah, that's kind of it.
Does everybody have the packages that are listed on the events page?
So
yeah, maybe they have.
yes. All right. Yeah, these are the three packages you need to install. So the first is probably HTTPPI. Sorry. Better. Is it readable?
Yeah, that's
It's fine.
Does everybody still need to install
From the back? Yeah. So HTTPPI request and beautiful soup 4. So these are the three packages you have to install, right? Did you install? Everyone?
I'll close the tab on the side by clicking the run the files.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So you can install by using your command line and running the pip3 install -u HTTPPI and all those.
Or you can just try pip.
Yeah.
Not 3.
Right.
Is it possible to actually flip the elements?
Okay, yeah. Sorry. Okay. Yeah, so these are the three packages we need. So HTTPPI, this is kind of optional. It's just like a command line utility. So it gives you a very nice interface if you want to just debug something from command line, right? So if I want to just download a web page from Google, I can do something like this.
Sorry, Google, can you bring it up?
Sorry.
Could you bring that line up when you were typing?
I.
Or if you can move a bit on this side, would be great.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, let me try.
Try move this as well.
Does this make it better?
Yeah, this is okay.
Okay.
So we are on terminal now. Are we on Python environment or?
Oh yes, obviously, yeah. You need Python.
Oh, we'll switch to Python later. I think we're working.
Yes. So right now I'm just showing you the tools that will be helpful before you actually start programming. So these are just the tools, right? So yeah. So the first is HTTPPI. Yeah. So this is how you can download a page from command line through HTTPPI. Just HTTP get www.google.com, and what it'll do is it's going to download the web page from the google.com, and you will see something like this. And I know this is a gibberish because this is the source of the page. This is not being rendered in a web browser, and we'll actually see what it's. I mean, you know what it looks like in Google, right, from a web browser, so you know. But actually, this is the source of the Google, just the web page. Yeah, so in here you can see what's the protocol we are using and different information, but we'll go through that. We'll go through that. Okay, so that's one. The second is you need request. So request is the library that is going to download the web pages for you in Python, and Beautiful Soup is actually the parser. So once you download the web pages, you will have to parse it somehow, right? So if you parse it, then you can extract or scrape information from the parser.
What is the difference between downloading and parsing?
So downloading is just downloading the content in your machine, local machine, right? But parsing is actually okay, so. Okay, sorry, let me think about it, because I mean, I've been used to this parsing so a lot. It's just like, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so can I come? Yeah, can I come back to you with this later? Okay, yeah. Okay.
I would just define parse.
Yeah, sure.
It's just kind of interacting data.
Sorry?
Interacting programmatically with data as opposed to just getting it.
No, probably not. I mean, it's something close, but I will not define it like this. I mean, it's still better than nothing, right? I couldn't come up with anything to give it a shot, so it's still better than nothing. Okay, so yeah, this is the agenda. So if you want to know web scraping, these are the 4 major topics actually you need to know. One is HTTP, which is the protocol the internet or the World Wide Web is working on. So anything you do on internet, any website you browse, any app you use that connects to the internet, it's actually connecting through HTTP. It's a protocol. The second is HTML. That's the language that all these websites, at least the front of the websites are written in. So that's the language. The third is scraping. So scraping is, as you know, once you downloaded the content, then how do you extract the information from there, right? And the fourth is, and we're probably not going to cover this in this session, maybe sometime in future, is crawling. So when you download only one single page, it's rarely the case that you will only want to scrape one single page, right? Most of the time, what happens is that you scrape one page, you find some link, then you go through that link, and then you keep scraping that page, right? And this process goes on and on. This is essentially like how a search engine indexing works, right? So first it downloads a web page from your site, then it finds the link, then it goes through that link and downloads it, and then the process goes on. And yeah, so speaking of crawling, just a little tidbit. The first crawler of Google is actually written in Python, but right now probably it's not. It's probably in C++. Anyway, so the first thing is hypertext transfer protocol. So what is the protocol? Anyone has any idea? Like in protocol in computer science, in networking. Okay, so a protocol is very similar to language, right? So if we want to communicate, how do we communicate? We communicate through language, right? And we also have to speak the same language. Otherwise, I'm not going to understand you. You're not going to understand me, right? The same thing happens when 2 different systems want to interact with each other. They have to speak a same common language that they both can understand, and which is what we call protocol in networking. And there are lots of different protocols. HTTP is one. Can you name another one? FTP, file transfer protocol. Yeah, so that's also a protocol, file transfer protocol, FTP. When you are using SSH to log into some remote machine, there's also another protocol. So yeah, almost everything you do on networking is some kind of protocol. Yeah, so HTTP is probably, there are many layers of protocol. I'll not get into the details of it, but HTTP is essentially what we know is internet, like World Wide Web. HTTP is synonymous with World Wide Web. Yeah, so in HTTP, the model we follow is what we call client-server model. And there are actually different kind of models, like peer-to-peer model. So can anyone name any peer-to-peer model you're familiar with?
Torrent.
Yes, torrent. Yes, yeah, torrent and any cryptocurrencies. Those are peer-to-peer model. And in HTTP, it's a client-server model. So that means that how it happens is there is a server that's listening on the internet for the client to make a request. And the client make a request, server gets the request. Based on the request, server does some processing and returns a response. Right, and essentially that's how HTTP works, right? So in HTTP we have 4. So this is very simplified. We have like so many things on HTTP. I can't cover all of this. Even I don't know all of this. So this is very simplified. One is resources. So resource is like a virtual resource. So how do you identify a resource in internet? This is a resource. So in your Jupyter lab, it's essentially working on HTTP, right? There is a server somewhere listening, and your web browser is a client. And this is the address of the server, and this is what's happening. The lab is the resource. So when you type this in your browser, what you're asking for the server is this, So this is the server. And just say like, hey, I want to get the content of this path. And the whole thing is actually called URL. Okay, so that's the first part. Second is the request we make to the server. Third thing is the response we'll get from the server. And there's another thing that's called request methods, which is what is the operation the server will perform based on the request it gets. So the most common one is, as you have already seen, get request. There are a few different other ones that put, delete, update. You can actually put a link so you can look into that. Yeah. So if you go there, yeah, so you can look at the list of different HTTP request types, sorry. But this is the most common one. Get and post are the most common ones, and you'll rarely see something like delete and maybe connect, but get and post are the most common ones. So, okay, are you using Chrome? Go to your menu, more tools, then open developer tools.
Mozilla.
So same thing should be available in Mozilla. It's just like
to see the source of it, source of the web page.
Yeah, so these are developer tools. So yeah, you should have something similar also in Mozilla, in every browser. Yeah, go to more tools, then from there, developer tools. Everyone is okay? Okay, so let's try Google. So, did you see what happened? So these are all the requests that have been made to Google. And if you click on something, and yes, you can see. So this is the response it got from Google. So yeah, so on the name, you can see all the requests it made to Google, right? The Google servers. So if you just click on the first one, this is the response it got. The whole web page. And this is the header. So request and response, they are actually divided into two. So the request is divided into two different categories, not two different categories, like two types of content, right? So each request and response will have some headers. Header is kind of like information metadata, and then we'll have a body. So you can see the headers from the response. Yeah, these are different headers. You see the server. So Google has its own server. It's called GWS. Then you'll have 200. So yeah, so when in the response, when you see the response header is 200, it usually means whatever request you have submitted, it performs successfully. That's what it means, 200. So yeah, and this is the date, content type. And the same with the request, you can see the request headers. Yeah.
Is it in network?
Are you using Chrome?
Yeah.
Yes, it's on the network tab. You can always refresh it. You're going to see the same thing.
How these come useful for scraping?
How
these come useful for us?
So when you scrape, you need to download information, right? You need to download it from a website. And if you don't know the details, like how it works, then it's probably going to be very hard for it. I mean, yeah, I can show you like 2 lines of code or something that you can download from Google and then kind of go on scraping. But I feel like, yeah, if you don't know how the basic fundamental of just some basic understanding of how HTTP or HTML works, it's going to be hard for it. But I can skip that.
No, it's all right. I just can't find it here. I'm in network, but then I can't see headers, review, response. Please see it.
Are you in Chrome?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, so you just have to click
Oh,
and then you can see them. Yeah.
Is everyone with me so far? From the back? Okay, so yeah, this is the response you've got from the Google. And essentially, this is where you are going to scrape. This is the content you're going to scrape. And yeah, you can see there's a lot of JavaScript in there. We'll skip over the JavaScript. Okay, so yeah, that's HTTP for you. So if we go into coding, first, so to download anything from the web, we'll use the request library. Import request.
Yeah.
Black and
White background.
Oh, to create a new tab.
Can we do this in Jupyter Lab?
Sorry.
Can we do this in Jupyter Lab?
Oh yeah, sure, absolutely. Oh, sorry, yeah, you can do this in Jupyter Lab. It's just I prefer IPython. I mean, it's essentially the same thing. Just Jupyter gives you a nice interface.
You need import request.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you just input request. I think I probably have to put. No. I think it's like. Okay. So first thing I have to do input request. Yes, so if you want to download something, so yeah, that's why you have to know how HTTP works, because you know, now you have to understand get, you have to understand delete. Sorry. Yeah, so this is how you can download a web page. Yeah, so it's complaining that I have omitted HTTP because now it doesn't know what's the protocol it should be using. So I have to specify protocol. Okay, I got a response. We got a response from the user, right? So okay, let's try to find a response. Okay. So status code. First thing you should do is check the status code, the response you get. If it's 200, it's okay. Anything that doesn't start with 2 is travel. So you can look at you can just Google status codes and you can look at what different status code mean, but usually 200 means it's okay. So yeah, if you want something more shorthand like this, you can see response.ok. If it's true, that means it's okay. If it's false, that means it's not. And if you want to see the body, that means response.text, you can see the body of the response you got. This is the body of the response you got.
What was the code? What was the script?
Response.text.
Before that, response.
Okay.
Response.ok. Okay, so you can also see response.headers. So you can see the headers you got from this response. So these are the headers. Yeah, so you can see the domain at google.com. You can actually see server, Google Web Server. You can actually see the kind of server Wikipedia uses. Yeah, sorry, never mind. Yeah, Wikipedia uses varnish. It's a cache. Yeah, never mind. Okay, you can see the headers like this, and so usually you don't have to worry too much about the headers, but sometimes if you are just curious, you can find some useful information from the headers. But one thing that's important is this header, content type. So if it says text/HTML, that means the body is actually HTML. If it says something like text/JSON, that means it's not an HTML file, and it's a JSON file. And if it's attachment, you can see image/JPEG or application/PDF if it's a PDF file. So yeah, you might have to look into that before you start scraping whether the header says it's actually an HTML file or not. You can also see the request it has made to the Google, the request object itself, response.request. So yeah, these are the headers that are used, right? So accept means what kind of format it accepts. It just keeps encoding is what kind of encoding. User agent. So user agent usually means the client type. So if you're using a web browser, you'll probably see something like Mozilla or WebKit. And you can also see the body. So in here, the body is null because when you make a GET request, the body has to be null. Yeah, so you can like input request, the body, there has to be something in the body, but in GET request, you cannot put anything in the body. Otherwise, the web server is just going to return error. It's the text. And this is the text we'll actually parse through Beautiful Soup. Okay, so that's HTTP. The second is HTML. So anyone know HTML? Okay, sorry. To be honest, I don't know either. Yeah, I know the basics, but I don't know all the things about HTML, and it's actually not that hard, so don't worry about it. So yeah, this is a very basic HTML file. So in your web browser, if you open it, you can actually inspect the source. So go to, if you are using Chrome, go to View Page Source. Yeah, yes, you can actually use the source of HTML. So HTML is essentially a collection of HTML elements. So when I say HTML element, HTML node, HTML tag, essentially all these three things mean the same thing. So I'll probably just use them interchangeably. Anyway, so in HTML itself is a tag. So when you define a tag, there's an opening tag, and there has to be a corresponding closing tag for it. So this HTML, it's an opening tag. Any content has to be in here. All right, so sorry. Yeah, this is the content of HTML tag, and after this, and this is where you'll close HTML tag. So that's how we know the content of a tag. Anything between opening and a closing tag is the content of that particular tag or that particular node or element. So, so every HTML file, it starts with the node HTML. After that, there are two major nodes or elements. One is head, and the next one is body. So the similar concept also applies here, right? In request and response, we have seen headers and body. In HTML, the same thing. We will have head element and body. So in head, you have the title tag. So essentially, that's what you will see in the title, right? This is the title. A simple example page, right? So yeah, that's the title. Okay, and in general, if you look into Google's source, yeah, you will also find a lot of other things, like language information, what kind of language it has, lots of other metadata. So yeah, yes, in general, you don't have to worry about that, but any kind of metadata about the HTML page itself is actually goes to in head. And the second is the body itself. So in body, you can write anything, not write anything you want, but that's actually what the content is. So usually this is simply HTML, but usually when you see a page, there are actually three different things: HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So HTML is the content part. HTML defines the content. CSS defines the presentation.
Sorry.
So what presentation, so CSS means cascading style sheets. So what presentation means in here is usually the font, background, any kind of thing, anything that's related to just the formatting or the presentation itself. So the reason for the division of HTML and CSS is what we call separation of concern. So people wanted to separate the content from the presentation itself. So then you have two different things. One is the content, the other is how we present the content to the user. So that's HTML, CSS, and the third is JavaScript. So JavaScript, that's what makes the web page programmable. So any kind of dynamic content you see in a web page, that's the JavaScript. So if you go on Google, if you type something, this is JavaScript. This is done by JavaScript. Anyway, so we'll not go into the detail of the CSS or JavaScript, just to let you know that these are the three parts, and we'll only look into HTML. Okay, so this is the body, and all the tags are actually in here. Let me just do that. Yes. Yeah, this is the list of all the HTML tags. If you go to this URL, you can see all the different types of tags that HTML supports. In general, you don't have to know about all the tags as long as you know what you're looking for. So if you open the developer tools, here, click on sources tab. Sorry, click on elements tab. Yeah, so see, now you can see which content refers to which part of the HTML. So if you are, so for example, you only care about this Python logo. So click on this. Can you see it? Yeah, so if you click on this and if you select the Python logo, you will see the respective. Okay, sorry, just give me a moment. I'll change the length. Okay, yeah, it's better. You see, this image tag is highlighted. So if you only want to look for images, just you have to search for all the image tags. If you want to look for a list, this is a list 1, 2, 3, right? This is a list. So if you want to only look for a list, what does it sorry, li, right? So that means it's an element of list. So that's an element of a list, but that's an element of a list, right? And OL means order list. So yeah, if you want to scrape information from this list, then you have to look for OL. If you go to Wikipedia, you want to parse all the references from Wikipedia. You open developer tools, select an element from there. So this is individual reference. Yes. So this contains all the references, right? So if you click on this, this is the HTML element that will contain all the references, right? This is the HTML element that will contain all the references in Wikipedia article. Everyone is with me? Yeah. So that means when you scrape, you actually have to find this element from the HTML page. You parsed. You have to find this element. Then you have to look for every link in that element. Everyone is with me so far?
Yeah.
Any questions? Okay, so okay, let's open this tutorial file. So this is how you read a file in Python.
So the tutorial file in the event, same the event issue.
Do you need the link?
Maybe you can put it on screen.
Yeah.
Download this.
Yeah, this
You
is
should have it in the folder.
yes, this is the link.
You're saying that you should first download this?
Yes.
It's in the Git, the UT-coders event issues under.
The fastest way to get to is go to the
Yeah,
website,
yeah.
and then scroll down to events, the first event should be website. And then
The website is UT-coders.git. I'll put the URL there on your website.
So just download with it.
Yeah.
Yes, just download it and go to that directory. Then read that file. Everyone okay?
Any website that we want to scrape, we should first download.
So that's what we have done here, right? When we have yes, that's what we've done here.
Instead of this file, we can use the response directly, response.text.
Text, yes. Yeah, that's what I've done here, right? So the request library, it got the web page for you, and that's actually saved in the response object, right? So if you look into the response,
Why don't you use the response? Why are you using the tutorial page?
sorry,
Why are you now using the tutorial page? Why are
the
you
tutorial page.
Why don't you use the
Instead
response?
of this, why?
Oh, okay. Yeah, we can do that. If you go to raw. That's a good question, actually. I don't know. Okay, let's view page source. Does GitHub do anything weird? No. Okay. Okay, so even sometimes you upload a web page and you want to download it. Some servers, they do something weird. They add like a lot of other things. So it's not as straightforward. But in this case, if you go to view page source, GitHub didn't do anything weird. It's just a
I guess the question was, instead of using this file, why don't you use the response?
yes, that's what I'm
So
doing.
you still have to save it in the HTML file, or?
No, you don't have to. Does it need?
I think you use the Google.
No.
Google response instead.
So is it maybe it's easier to?
Yes, so if you do response.text. And this is the HTML file, right? It just is not formatted properly. But yeah, this is the HTML file. You see, this is the title. Simple example page. Okay. Anyway, whatever works for you. Everyone is on board? Okay. So now, yeah, the actual scraping part. PS4. Beautiful. So, okay.
Didn't we install Beautiful Soup 4?
Yes. But we haven't imported it, right? You have to import the Beautiful Soup in your current session. So what install does, it installs that package in a local machine. But that doesn't mean that that package will be readily usable in your current session.
Right from Beautiful Soup 4.
From BS4. Oh no, so yeah. Yeah, it's not like that. Like most of the time it's like that the package name and the top level module are the same name, but yeah, many times it's not. So yeah, this is actually not a package name, this is a module name. This is BS4, this is actually a module. So module and Python package are not the same thing. So you have to import Beautiful Soup, that's a class, and that's how you instantiate the class Beautiful Soup. It takes two different parameters. The first parameter is a string, or that string should contain the content of the HTML. So the HTML, the whole HTML should be in that string. And the second is the parser. So Beautiful Soup can use different parsers. And in this case, you are using the parser for HTML. Because there are other format I think it supports, so you can have a XML parser. I'm not sure, but you can have, right? So yeah, anyway. So if you look at the type, so yes, this is a Beautiful Soup object, right? Okay. Children. So it's an area. Okay. So yeah, soup.children, it's an iterator. I'm not sure you're familiar with the concept of iterator, but anyway, it's not a list. So you have to do something to make it a list, which is it just create a list object like this. So now it's a list, right? Yeah, so now it's going to return all the children. So remember when we said in HTML, there is one root element that's called HTML. And every element is children or grandchildren of that element. So yeah, that's how you can actually access the children of an element. Soup.children. Okay. And this goes on and on. So if we take a look at the first child, because HTML elements are essentially organized in a tree-like fashion, right? So in a tree, every node, every relationship is a parent-child relationship. So let's look at the child, first child. See, the first child is also has the same thing. You can look at the second child. So soup is the object we'll interact with. So if you want to find any tag, any HTML tag, any HTML element, or any HTML node, they all mean the same thing. Any HTML node, the way you'll do it, find underscore all. So find underscore all of what it will do, it will find all the tags of that type. So if I want to find all the image tags, I'll just type the tag for images, right? That is img. Okay. So how many images we had in the web page? One, right? No, it's one. One, right? How many tags you have got? One, right? You can verify this like this. You can just the length of the list is one. So yeah, we've got one. Okay. Yeah.
I think you're using the Google one.
Yeah, check your response.content or how you instantiated the beautiful soup object. Yeah, so if you want to find all the paragraph tags, so paragraph tag is denoted by just the letter P. So just type P. Okay, so this is hard to read. Let's see how many paragraph tags are in here. Let's just check the length of it. 2. Okay, let's go there. How many paragraph tags we have? This is the first one, first paragraphs. This is the second paragraph.
Will it use the same tags as the HTML, like li for this? So you just use P for paragraph, right?
Yes.
So is it following the same nomenclature as the HTML tags? If I want to find the head, just put head and find all.
Okay, let's try this. Okay. Yeah, whatever you wish. Do you want to find? Okay, so in HTML, if you want to put a link, the tag for link is just the letter A. So okay, how many you have so far? Obviously, here's 3, right? And here's one more, 4. Okay, if we want to examine it. Okay, so this is very rudimentary, right? Because now you are trying to find all the images, all the links. It's good, but the question is, like, the problem is when you're trying to scrape, you don't want to find all the images or all the tags, right? You are specifically looking for only some of the links or some of the images. So, okay, so what's the problem right now? Let's see, this is a list. Right, this is a list, right? So now the problem is, how can we find out all the links in a list, not any other links? So that means that we should be able to get this, but not this. Any idea how we can do that? Because if we do soup.findAll, it will return all these 4, right? But we don't care about the first one, python.org. We don't care about that. We only care about these 3. How can we do that? Yeah, that's really good. You can look at the list, right? We can just look at the list tag. Then inside the list tag, we can try to find the link. That's the one. The other one is so these are the list elements, right? We can look at the list itself. That is OL, right? So we can look at the list itself. So let's try to find out that. How do we find? Yeah, how can we find out this tag? Yeah, just search for OL. Okay, we got it, right? Okay, so ordered list. Okay, so this is our ordered list. Now what we'll do, what we should do here. We can search, also search something like find all. Sorry, this is a list. Okay, so this is a list, but we only have one element, right? So we have got the ordered list HTML element. So what can I do? Type here. We can do the same operation like find. Let's call all. What should we find? A, right? No, you're not specifically looking for the list itself. We're looking for the links, right? So we should try to find anything with A. Anything with A. Okay, now you have found all the links, right? But we are not done yet because this is not a link. This is an HTML element that contains the link. This is not the link, right? Okay, so let's try to traverse that list. So links, call it list links. So this is our list links object. Let's measure it over there. Let's look at this property. Okay, yeah, this kind of black magic now. I'll explain this. What's happening? So now you actually have got the list. Sorry, got the links. Everyone is okay? Okay. Okay, sorry. Let me explain this. What's happening, right? So we explained the concept of HTML element. However, each HTML element can have a list of attributes. So this is the name of the element, right? So this is the opening tag, open HTML element, and this is the closing tag, and this is how we call content. So each HTML element also supports attributes, and this is how we call attributes. This. So each attribute is essentially a key value pair. So for each HTML element, each HTML can have a list of attributes, and each attribute is a key value pair. So key value pair, it's nothing important. It's just like a pair. So a pair has a key and a value. Usually what's on the left-hand side is called the key, and what's on the right-hand side is called the value. So both of them makes a key value pair. So in here, each link object element has one attribute, right? What's the name of that attribute? What's the key of that attribute? href, right? There's the key of the attribute. What's the value of the attribute? The link itself, the actual hyperlink itself, right? So now what you are doing here, we have a list of links. We are iterating over each link. That means now we get each object like this, right? Just a single object, right? And how we can access the attributes of that HTML element? It acts like a dictionary in Python. So you just access it like indexing. You just put the key here. So in here, the key is href. Can we do something similar with images? Okay, let's try this, right? Okay, this is our image. What does it sense now? Oh, sorry. I have the title. We have one image, right? We've got the images. Okay. So what we'll try to find out the source of all the images so we can download it to our own local machine. Let's try that. So this is an image. And let's look at the tag, HTML tag itself. This is the tag. How many attributes we have in the tag? Two, everyone? How many attributes you have? Two, right? What are the keys of these attributes? Alt and source. And which one we are looking for? Which one is actually the link? Source, right? Okay, how do you access that? Index and src. Okay. Okay, so yeah, I'll end the session with just scraping the Wikipedia references list. So just go to any Wikipedia article with references. Any Wikipedia article. Mine is 2008 FIFA World Cup. Okay. Yeah, come to the references. Okay. Open your developer tools. We have opened our developer tools. Okay. So now what's our job? Try to find the HTML element that correspond to that list, right? So pick this. You see this icon? Click on it. Yes. So yeah, just keep hovering until you find something suitable. Yes, this is the one, right? So what's the tag? Div, right? Okay, so that means what do we have to look for? Find all div. But is it enough? Probably not. There will be like tons of other divs, right? I mean, you can see there's like how many divs are here? Tons. There will be tons of divs. So how do you find the right one? You look at the attributes list. Like, I mean, there are many other ways, right? There's no right way, but one simple way, just look at the attributes list. So yeah, is there anything specific that catches your eye? Maybe the class ref list. So that's an attribute called class, and look at the value. So ref list columns references. So it looks like something that corresponds only to references, right? So let's try that. Okay, let's download the web page to request and check whether we have actually downloaded the web page or not. Okay, okay, cool. What should we check more? Is there anything else we should check? Yeah, but that's the job done by okay. If it says to the okay, it's true. That means like yeah, it's okay. I mean yeah, you can always check. There's no harm. Status code. Okay. What else should we check? We should check ideally also headers, right? Because we should also be sure that whether the content is actually HTML or not. Because the content can be anything. It can be an image, it can be a PDF. So you should also check whether the content type is HTML. So how do really this is how you check. So the response.headers is dictionary. Check. Okay. Go to if it's true, that means it's HTML or something like, right? Or otherwise, it's not an HTML. So probably you should just, yeah, you should just skip this page. Okay, so this then parsing. Okay. Okay, let's try to do soup.find all. We find tag div, right? Okay, let's try div. See how many divs are there? So many. So how do you find the right div? So in Beautiful Soup, you can also, when you search, you can also look at the attribute. You can also define the criteria of the attribute. So yeah, so just Google it. Beautiful Soup, find by class. How to find elements by class. You're there. Div. This is how you can specify attributes in Beautiful Soup. So just copy this. But is this the same? This is the class you're looking for now. It's not the class you're looking for, right? So ref list columns references column width.
It's different in each of the pages, correct? Mine is different.
Really?
Reference word wrap.
Shouldn't be, because they follow the same. Shouldn't be different.
W references wrap. And W references wrap.
Okay, let's try to see how many div it has. So each Wikipedia page has only one references list, right? That means we should get only one element. How many elements we got? Only one. That means, yes, probably you're doing something right. So when you're scraping, you have to do a lot of trials and errors. That's it. There's no rocket science. Sorry, there's no science. It's just trial and error. Everyone okay?
The content is the response.text, right?
Yeah, response.text. Okay. Yeah, okay. So we have found the div we are looking for. So let's just name it ref list. References.div. So what's the next step now? In this div, we should be looking for what? For all the links, right? How can we find links? Okay. Sorry. So references, that there was a list. So yeah, there's only one element. So just access the first element. This is the code. There was a list, right? That list had only one element. So you're just accessing the first element.
To go back to the first one where you find all.
Find all. Yes. Yeah. So you can find by tag. So at first you specify the tag. Then you can also narrow your search by attribute, right? So each attribute is essentially a key value pair. So you can say, find me all the divs that has class attribute as a key. This is a key, and this is as a value of that key. So it will find any div with that attribute. So yes, so yeah, you can find all the links like that.
It's not just the links.
It's all this HTML. So how do you find the link? How do you find the link? So each link tag has href attribute, right? And you can access the href attribute like this. Yeah. Okay. Yes, so this is it.
This one is through. And then so if you go here, and then you go here, and then do the option there. Yeah, and then if you highlight this, you'll see that the class is this. That's how we can identify which one of the div it is. So you can copy it from, that's where we copied it from. We typed it.
Everyone okay? Okay, yeah. So this is the end, and we haven't covered crawling, but yeah. So essentially, once you find the link, then you have the list of links. Then you can keep doing the same process for all the links you've got.